Welcome to another in the series, the Sip and Chat. Welcome to another in the series, the Sip and the Chat. I'm your host, LELEITH TOMLINSON, and indeed, it is a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. Here at Sip and Chat, we try to discuss every issue, issues that are related to your health, those to your wealth, and just anything that is pertinent to allowing you to live a very wholesome life while we're yet here on planet Earth. So, welcome once again to Sip and Chat. Well, I have a very special guest with me this afternoon. And I was saying, someone said, everybody that comes on this set is a special friend. Yes, they are, because once we start sipping, and that's what sipping does, it brings people together, it brings ideas together, and ultimately it brings communities together. So I want to take this opportunity to welcome to the set of Sip and Chat my very alluring, very special guest today, looking so resplendent and out there and trending. Miss Carlene, oh my gosh, you look so nice today. I want to tell you, you look so nice.
You.
And we definitely going to take a photo of you looking this fabulous today as well. Welcome to the set of Sip and Chat.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it is such a pleasure. Well, you know, Friday was Valentine's Day, right? And when I thought about this topic, a very practical topic, I just wanted it to flow really nice today. Because I know some persons are still on the mood over their Valentine.
Some persons are even upset for not getting anything as well. But that's for later,
That's
right?
for later, right? Right. So, but you know what? It's not too late. So maybe after today, after this program tonight, rather, persons will say, you know what? After all, I need to appreciate my spouse, right? Now, so first of all, love still aware?
Love is always relevant because God is love.
Exactly.
A songwriter said, what love has to do with it? And because who needs a heart when a heart can be broken? But love has everything to do with it. Because if you can't afford to cry, you can't afford to love.
Wow.
Because when you're going to be broken in where God is concerned, you have to be really broken. So that means you have to pour out your all. So love is always relevant.
That's so, I mean, we already started on a very powerful note. Love is always very relevant. And that is so true. But we notice that what we want to look at, we hear things like love is magical, love is kind. You know, one quote said, to be loved and to love is like having the sun shining on both sides of your face. Isn't that profound? To love and be loved is having the sunshine on both sides of your face.
Because yeah, that's profound because then it's reflecting on both sides.
Right.
So there's no self-centered.
Right.
We're both giving from both ends. And I think one of the issues that we have where love is concerned is that person says, I am who I am, you have to love me for who I am. But I think there's a big difference between self-worship and self-love.
Okay.
That's where we get a little thing mixed up. Because self-worship is, I am who I am. I'm not going to change for who you want me to be. You'll have to accept me for who I am. This is how I was born. This is the thing that I do. This is, this is just me.
Right.
But really, self-love is, you know what? I am this person, and I really don't like what I really get from this person. I really think that I can do better. I try to develop. I try to, you understand me? Try to change things that would make it work, especially in a relationship. Because when you're single, it's totally different than when you're married.
Wow.
Because when you're single, it's I. So I do this and I do that. But when you're married, remember, we have culture clash. Because if his grandmother raised him and my father raised me, at the beginning of the relationship, I will be dating his grandmother and he'll be dating my father. So it's a culture clash.
Right, because, and I want to make that very clear, because what is happening is right there, I just said that dating grandmother, because that person oftentimes is a reflection of how they were brought up.
Yes.
And so if that's what grandma told them, they hold it as gospel.
Yes.
Yeah. And gospel according to grandma.
Right.
And so it is very difficult to break through some of those idiosyncrasies and things that people hold dear to them, that oftentimes see relationships, good relationships, relationships that were meant to be, falling apart because persons are not able to step outside of themselves and see what's best for us. How important it is to identify that. Listen, you spoke a little bit, but talk a little bit about it. That a marriage and relationship is never about just you. It's about the we.
It's about us. The thing is, because we're for Jamaican, our culture, it's very nice, but sometimes it's very naughty because of the culture that we have. All right, for example, 3/4 of us single parent. Is it that we are raised by our mommy or raised by our daddy? So this independent thing, it's not a bad thing, but it's kind of hard when you get married, because then again you think, I want the bills to be covered. It's not a bad thing, but you forget that we're married. It's a union. So it's like you go to your husband and you said, all right, then the water is this amount, the light is this amount, that is this amount. You're not used to that.
Right.
So you force in yourself, and by the time
and just as it relates to decision making as well, as you're on that point, because you are used to this level of independence,
yes,
you oftentimes don't understand and appreciate the need to consult. And that is one of the reasons why sometimes spouses, whether male or female, they feel left out and they don't feel valued, because whichever party it was feels that, listen, as you rightfully say, listen, I've been doing this for 15 years, I've lived by myself, I've paid my bills, I've done this and so on. And when they need, especially when they're older persons, right? When there comes a point now when those persons have to adjust to the we experience, it is oftentimes very, very difficult. You know, Auntie Panchap, time can run very fast, right? So I want to talk a little bit about something that was established by Chapman in his book called The 5 Love Languages. So how in this season, even as people are on their couch tonight, or some persons are probably lying down in their bed, because people watch and chat from everywhere, you know. Yes. But talk to us a little bit. We want to explore some of what are the 5 love languages first of all, and we can take them one, and then we see where we are with that.
Okay. First, that is what that's where a lot of relationship goes wrong, because you don't know your love language. And if you don't know your love language, you don't know how to express it. So you have the act of service.
Right.
You have receiving gifts. You have quality time. You have words of affirmation, and you have physical touch.
All right. So I want to talk first of all. I want to talk first of all about words of affirmation, because one of the things that I find is that I hear a couple saying, even when I'm doing my sessions, I hear people saying, the lady says, you know, I don't feel loved. And I hear the man saying, you know, you're wicked. He says, you know, you're wicked. And you know, and she's like, what? And he says, I buy you a car. I provide a nice house. And the children are always okay. How you say, I don't love you? So talk to us about a lot of people who don't speak and express love, and how that jeopardizes the relationship.
All right. So where that is concerned, he's doing a lot of things, yes, but he's not doing her love language. She likes to hear, babes, you look nice. This outfit looks good on you. I like the way you do your hair. Because when we put ourselves together and we get home, as much as persons outside would say, boy, you look nice, you would love to hear your husband say, babes, you look nice, see?
Because that's the person that's most closest to you.
That's most closest to you. That's your look.
And I really want to say this, you know, that sometimes when we don't talk, when we don't communicate to our spouse, it's almost as if you're disinterested, you're uninterested, you know, and then that person wears the same outfit and goes outside, and a lot of people are saying, wow, and then you know the worst part when them say, did your husband see you? What did your husband tell you this morning? Gentlemen, we want to use this opportunity on this post-Valentine's night to say to you, you need to speak to your wife in the language that they understand and appreciate. And one of the that is most common among women is the need for affirmation.
Yes.
You look good. You smell good.
Yes.
You dress good. Come on.
And the gentleman likes to hear that too, because husband's love language is that as well.
Exactly.
And let me tell you, know, the funny thing is, we are so emotional, right? It's like we have to understand how the male functions and how female function. For an example, you're in a relationship, and I would come to you and say, I feel like he doesn't want me.
Mm-hmm.
And then now he'd go to his friend and say, say it look like she don't want me.
Uh-huh.
We're both saying the same thing,
Right.
But it's just like what we feels it and he sees it.
Right.
For a male, it's a little bit different. You
So
cannot
you're saying
send.
male is about feeling.
No, it's about seeing.
Right? And the female
it's
is about feeling.
Don't get me wrong. Male have emotions as well. But if it comes to the house, you cannot send a man to buy a curtain. And I know for a fact you cannot send your husband to town because the first stall he stop, he's going to buy everything. When we'll say, no, them not get my money for that.
Right.
No, that yam yana look right. No, him not foolishness. Him say yam a yam, and yam
will just buy it.
and him just want to get out of here. I don't see the reason why you have to be going down the road to walk a mile to get the same yam.
I remember a lady and her husband went to New York and she said, oh, she's going to shop, she's going to shop. And he says, yes, I'll come with you to shop. And because I have something to get, and he went to the first store, he bought what he wanted, and he said, okay, come when you're ready.
Yes.
Because at first, I think that for the ladies, it is about eye shopping.
Yes.
And then you negotiate with your pocket or his pocket in terms of what you would actually purchase. But for them, it's I have this amount of money. And remember too, one of the things that we want to establish as well is that you might have men who are not as clear cut as that as well. Mm-hmm. And you might have, because you have some ladies who will go to the market too and they'll just stop at the first stall that they see. And you have some men who really, really love to shop and they will walk from store to store. But what we're doing is that we're making the general, general things about.
I think what really makes it work is know your partner. Know exactly who he is. Right. Because when you know your partner, it will be easier. You won't compare him to somebody else. Mm-hmm. He's not a man who likes to take the clothes off the line. So when you are having a conversation with your female friend and she said, well, when I go home, all the clothes take up off the line and this is full up. You go home, you trouble the man. You know that's not, he doesn't like that. He'll probably wash the dishes. So you can't take the clothes off of the line. Where do you get that? Right. Why are you imposing that on your husband and you know he does not like that? So that's the thing about relationship is we don't study our husband, our partners. The thing is, for me, I always say this. 2 things you get a certificate for and you haven't done the course. You get a certificate for marriage and you get a certificate for baptism. Remember, everything else you do have a 6-month course, a 3-month course to be certified, and then you get the certificate for that. Right. But for those 2 really important things, you are already certified and you don't start the course. That means it's not...
You have to give me time to laugh. You know, I say this to people all the time, right? Let me tell you, I've been counseling for a while. You have been married for 13 years. I have been married for 20-something years. And one of the things that you learn is that every day is a new experience. And as you interact with other persons, you recognize that, listen, you're not unique, you're not strange, nothing is wrong with you, because some of the things that you experience, other persons are experiencing it too. But sometimes because we close ourselves off in silos, we don't recognize that the things that you're experiencing are things that have happened to people and they've actually surmounted those hurdles. And I think one of the things that is important too sometimes is to find a lot of people are discussing marriage with single people. That's a no-no. Love language, affirming people. Don't listen to people who don't have any relationship and who don't intend either to have any relationship and get counseling from them.
One of the main things, do not listen to anyone who does not understand that love is a choice. Mm-hmm. It is a choice. You make that conscious decision to get up every day to love her regardless. Mm-hmm. Every day in marriage is not going to be the same. Mm-hmm. Remember, 5 years in the marriage, when you just got married, 5 years after you, it's not the same 5 years before you, because your body changes. Mm-hmm. Things get added to the marriage. It's not every day you feel like getting up and you're like, oh my God, my heart is beating, and sometimes you feel like it's just the way that's going to be real, because we can be real, right? But at the end of the day, marriage really honors God. Right. You just benefit from the marriage. Mm-hmm. But when you really do what the marriage does is honor God, God is glorified and you are satisfied.
Right. I just want to get into so if you're with your spouse right now, or you can have your phone, you can text them and affirm them. Let them know that you love them. the same kind of bubbly butterflies or whatever it was that you felt in those days, or you're still feeling, make it known to your spouse that you love them and you adore them. I think it's so important.
Yes, it's different
Words of
things. Yes,
affirmation.
there's different things that you can do. For example, you're getting older. So remember, when you get older, things and time change. So you have to make sure that you do stuff because further on in the marriage, we're not going to be able to do the things we used to do before. So let's make good memories. Or for example, you know what? I get up and I give you a breakfast and I write a little note. I might not say it, but I leave the note there because I want you to know that you're still relevant to me. I love you just the same, regardless. I'll give you a phone call during the day. Hi, hon, how are you? Because I want to know the mood that you're in. So when you come home, I know exactly what conversation to hold. So for example, if you have left the plate in the sink and there's a lot of hands taking it up and I'm bubbling, but in the day when I call to check on you and say, sweetheart, how are you? How is your day? And you say, boy, babes, kind of rough today and whatever. You know what? I have to just go back in myself and say, girl, go take that plate out of the sink, and wash it up because you have to put on a different hat this evening.
Right.
Because being married is like an all-inclusive, like a hotel. You have to make sure you are every girl if you want it to work. You have to be his friends. You have to be counselor. There are times when for me, for my marriage, my friends will say, Carlene, you're crazy. I have a meeting like every other week. And it's a serious meeting like every other week. So I'll say to my husband, hon, what is it that happened prior to this week that I did that you didn't like? And
so it's like a temperature check.
Yeah, right, temperature check. So I really wanted to tell me because I am not going anywhere and you are definitely not going anywhere. And for me, I always say the person's over Madden and over Meadows is not walking up and down over there. So I know that you're not going anywhere.
Right.
But it's good for us to do a temperature check because sometimes you are doing a good thing, but it's not necessarily a good thing that is going to benefit your spouse.
Right. And sometimes you're doing stuff and your spouse is not receiving it the way that you want to receive. I think that temperature check is something that's very important as well. And it's every now and then, you know, you have to check in to see how you're doing and what can improve. All right. So we have to speak up, let our spouse know how we love them and how we appreciate them. Now, quality time. Wow. Everybody is mark, set, go. Everybody is so busy. How important is quality time?
Quality time is really important. And when it comes to quality time, because I know most persons work, you sit down and you tailor what works for your marriage. Because if we don't have time in the morning, we can have time in the evening. If we don't have time in the evening, because you probably go home, you have to get the kids done, you have to prepare the meal, and you're a little bit exhausted. Okay, you know what? Sit and you said, weekend, I'm going to put in some time this weekend. I'll make sure that he's okay. I'm okay. We can rap, we can talk. So I mean, I made a schedule. So I said, okay, you know what? This is Saturday morning. We'll lie down in the bed. We can conversate about stuff and things like that. We can say, okay, you know what? We might not have a time to go out, but we're going to have a movie night. We're going to have a date night. So there's so much. You don't need a lot of cash either. All I need is you and you need me.
Right? I see why they always call it to the comfort table because you know how to keep it very real, right? One of the things I want to look at as well, Carlene, is the whole matter of people thinking, you said it just now, that for me to spend time with my spouse, it's about, oh, I have to take her here and I have to take her there. And I want to say to our audience today is that you can create your mood. You can create your mood, you can create your atmosphere. Yes, you would like to go to the hotel, the 5-star, the 7-star, whatever it is, but you might not have the resources right now. And you shouldn't be badgering your spouse. And again, you said it about comparing the do's and don'ts of relationships. Yes. Do not compare. Even if it's something that you want them to do, say it in a complimentary way. Say it in a way of a desire, but not in a way of comparing, right? So I think that those two things, the words of affirmation, and now we're at quality time, and we have to make the time. Time don't just happen.
No, the thing is, persons need to understand, I can have everything, and I don't have you.
Oh, Lord. It's strong. But as we talk about quality time, I really want to bring this. And I can see my producer bringing up our imagery. You ever notice people now, like when they're socializing, even couples, you go to dinner, everybody take out their phone. This is not about me and the phone and you. This is about us. So those are some of the things we can do. Turn off the phone. And
Yes.
very important when we're spending time together is active listening.
Yes.
Listen with your eyes, your nose, your ears, everything. I want you to know that this is our time, our me time. Wow.
And another thing I want to add to that, in the listening, you listen to understand than to respond.
Okay.
Because that is very important. You wait until your spouse is finished and don't assume that this is what she's going to say, because sometimes the conversation starts and your husband say, oh no, I know where you're going with this, I know exactly where you're going. And sometimes you're really not going there.
Yeah, right. So you have to be careful. Talk to us a little bit about how important touching is, because Jamaica not really a touching culture, and most of the times, and I'm being real, when we hear about touching, like some of our Jamaican songs, oh my God, they sound so raunchy and rough. But talk to us about how important touch is, a gentle touch. I mean, I'm not saying you can't have a little touch, but you have to be. We want to talk a little bit because we grew up in a rough society.
The thing is that Jamaican, I think our culture have a misunderstanding of intimacy and sex, because we totally think intimacy is sex.
Right.
We don't understand that that's a quality time. We can hug, we can kiss, we can lay down in the settee, just cuddle. And most persons don't do that. Our culture is a little bit more macho. Man, not have time for that. We talk about hug up and a lover boy business, that and thing like that. But the thing is, who are you? Because getting married, remember, I am saying I do to you for the rest of my life, and you are saying that to me. And the thing is, we're going to combine things to the table that is going to make it work. So it's not a selfish decision, because say, if I am a loving person, I'm going to express that to you.
Right.
And if you love me, you are going to react to whatever I'm putting on the table.
That's so important. Physical touch is important. And I mean, you can hold your partner's hands, touch their arms, or give them a massage at the end of the day. So for males that probably are working, you can get a little massage. You'll take their foot and you'll massage it or whatever it is. Even just to do the shoulder one too. That is so therapeutic, right? So that's something. No, this act of service, right? Because nobody wants to say, I'm not your errand boy or I'm not your errand girl, right? So how important is that? Acts of service. People who like to be helped with the dishes. Talk to us about that.
Okay, for act of service, that's why I said know your husband, because not everything that he is going to like to do. But then again, understand what is it that he likes to do. Because some husband likes to wash. For my husband, he likes to wash, he likes to cook.
Okay.
He likes the physical stuff, right? I likes to cook as well, right? And stuff like that. But not everybody, like, he doesn't like to take clothes off the line.
Right. Okay.
Right. So I know that he doesn't like to take clothes off the line, but he'll wash the clothes. So I know exactly what he likes. So when he washes the clothes, I take the clothes off the line.
Right.
Or I'll ask my son or my daughter, say, just take the clothes off the line. So it's good to know exactly what they like. So you don't impose things on them that will show off the relationship, let things a little bit unbalanced.
And I think in acts of service, it shows appreciation. You talk about it. People, the spouse, whichever spouse it is, recognizes that you appreciate what they do, right? And I just want to add to act of service as well, is that we should learn when those services are done, whatever it is, that we commend the people on it. We're not a society that says, babes, hon, that was well done, or I truly appreciate you for that. And I think that is also so important.
You know what can work in terms of act of service too? For example, we do it together.
Okay, right.
Because if you don't really like it and I love it, you know what? Because relationship is about compromising. Try it. And let's do it together and see how it works. And then we can decide, okay, you know what, this doesn't work. For me, how do you know that it doesn't work? Because I've already tried it.
Right.
So I'm going to try something else.
All right, so the other one, because time, tell us if and chat. We're going to get a sponsor, go for an hour, right? So the other one is receiving gifts. How important is that? Because, and then some person says some things are not gifts. Like they get clothes, they say clothes is not a gift. But how important
is it? It's a thought that's really counts. It's a thought that really counts. For example, even as much as eating, I remember having a conversation with a client, and she was like, her husband carries home office lunch for her.
Whoa.
And persons, which I remember somebody else was there at the time, and your husband eat and left you. And she said, let me tell you something. There's a lot of things that he could have done. He passed the garbage bin. There's madman on the street, and he thought of me.
And it's like extending his lunchtime with you.
Is extending his lunchtime. The thing is, in our culture, it's the value of the gift.
Right.
If it's not,
girl,
yeah, you couldn't
it
never
gotta
carry.
be a Gucci,
Yes,
Versace.
you can never carry some ice cream. Come give me because you're bright. Or a little one chocolate. For Valentine's Day, I know.
Some person probably got a one chocolate and like seriously.
Here, I saw little clippings where a husband brought it's like they went on a Broadway, a road, and he got the sign for the road. It's significant for him because he said their first date was there.
Okay.
And he wrapped up that thing and brought it to his wife. And she was like,
live it.
First she said, babes. And when she opened it, she's like, what should I do with this? And he was explaining to her and I was like, remember, and then we female, when we're upset, Alzheimer's kick in. I don't remember that time. And then she said, okay, you know what? Where's the real gift?
And sometimes too, sometimes it's just about appreciating the small things.
Yes.
Because, sometimes we look at the big things, but the small things are the things that the people do with their hands. In terms of, the little cooking.
Yes.
So whereas you could have gone and purchased a meal, but you spend the time to cook a meal for me.
Dinner.
And so in a relationship, the questions you want to ask yourself, what was the last time you surprised your spouse by doing something meaningful? Tell them that you love them, hold their, do an errand for them and so on. So I want to believe that love is still happening, right? And that it's still real and it's still out there. I know the divorce rate is very high. I mean, it's almost like every other person that you talk to these days, they're saying, oh, I spoke to a girl the other day and she was like, for example, I'm Mary Brown Johnson. And then she said, oh, what's Johnson? And it just hit me at that time, just this week. It just hit me. That wasn't her real name, just using a pseudonym.
Yes.
It just hit me like every other person that you speak to, that, they're no longer with their spouse. So Carlene, as we wrap up today, just talk to us about just trusting God in relationships.
God has to be the center of the relationship. It's hard work. It's really, really hard work. It's not easy, but it can work because you have to. It's a whole world all by itself. It's where you put investment in. Not everything is going to go the way that you want it to go, but I bet you we find time to do things that we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an investment, and I don't think that you want to say, okay, till death do us part. You go through all that ordeal, and then at the end of the day, you walk away without a fight, and I walk away without a fight. There is so much things where marriage is concerned. The thing is, I would tell persons that if you're single, understand who you are first before you can share yourself with anyone else. Because sometimes that's the issue. Because I don't know who I am, I don't know my value, I don't know my worth, I don't understand what it's like to share. Right, sensitive to share space. I'm not the cleanup person. Want to be carrying somebody in my space to be cleaned up. I'm not really ready. But because my friends are married and it looks pretty on that side, I think I want to see myself with somebody else. No, understand who you are because you'll have to share you with that person. So you won't be saying me, it's us, ours, and we.
Excellent. I just want to say to everybody who is still on their Valentine celebrating, happy Valentine's Sunday night.
Every day is Valentine. Every day should be your Valentine's Day.
Somebody told me, said, if I had a flower for every time I thought of you, I wouldn't stop walking through my garden. Girl, did I have blood?
Woo! That's nice.
But yeah, and I said that to say, Carlene, that it's the same thing we spoke about today. The whole matter of just knowing your love language, knowing the love language of your spouse and utilizing them. Love has got everything to do with it. Know the words of affirmation that brings your spouse alive. Spend quality time and try to revive that love that can go wane sometimes. Always make sure that you touch. It creates contact. And act of service, they can never grow dull. And always remember, you can top it up with a little gift. It is always a pleasure talking to you. Married for 13 years. I congratulate you and your husband. And, it's just a pleasure just talking to you. And those of you who are out there, I know sometimes it's rough, but stick to it and just try to enjoy it. I mean, I know probably there will be some persons who say, boy, it's not going to work. we empathize with those persons. But
I
if
mean,
there's something, yeah, because sometimes it was just wrong from the beginning.
it was just wrong for the beginning because
Yeah, for the reasons that we said.
right.
So until next time, remember, love has got everything to do with it.